The unexpected threat. The first tremors of what would become humanity's greatest challenge arrived not with a bang, but with a whisper of data. Dr. Elena Rodriguez leaned back in her chair, the holographic displays of the SETI, Advanced Monitoring Station, flickering with an anomaly that defied conventional explanation. "Carter, are you seeing this?" she called to her colleague, her voice a mix of scientific curiosity and growing tension. Dr. Michael Carter approached, his weathered hands adjusting the quantum resonance filters. The massive array of deep space sensors, spread across multiple orbital platforms, had been designed to detect the faintest whispers of extraterrestrial communication. What they were detecting now was anything but a whisper. "Massive energy signatures," Carter muttered, his fingers dancing across the holographic interface. "But these aren't random. They're coordinated, organized." The data told a story of precision. Hundreds, no, thousands, of objects were moving through the outer solar system with a mathematical perfection that spoke of intelligent design. They were approaching Earth with a deliberateness that sent a chill down Elena's spine. Global communication networks began to light up. Military installations worldwide shifted into high alert. The preliminary reports were unanimous and terrifying. Something was coming, and it wasn't interested in negotiation. In the underground command center beneath the United Nations headquarters, a hastily assembled team of scientists, military strategists, and political leaders watched as the first comprehensive analysis came through. Admiral Catherine Chen, a veteran of multiple international crisis management operations, broke the silence. "We're looking at a fleet," she stated, her voice calm despite the gravity of the situation. "Approximately 3,742 vessels of varying sizes. Their approach vector suggests a coordinated invasion force." The room fell silent. Invasion, a word humanity had relegated to science fiction, was now a stark reality. Dr. Akira Tanaka, a quantum physicist known for his groundbreaking work in adaptive technologies, stepped forward. "Our conventional defense systems won't be enough," he said, pointing to a three-dimensional projection of the approaching Armada. "These aren't just ships. They're a living, breathing strategic organism." What made the situation more complex was the absolute silence from the approaching fleet. No communications, no signals, just an inexorable approach that suggested a confidence bordering on contempt. Elena Rodriguez saw an opportunity where others saw only threat. Her background in xenolinguistics and adaptive communication systems had prepared her for something like this, though no one could truly be prepared for first contact of this magnitude. "They're treating us like we're irrelevant," she observed. That might be their first mistake. The next 72 hours would become a crucible of human innovation. Military research facilities that had been working on theoretical defense technologies were suddenly thrust into practical application. Projects that had been considered too radical, too experimental, were now humanity's best hope. In labs across the globe, scientists who had spent decades working on theoretical concepts began to see their life's work as more than academic exercises. Quantum entanglement communication systems, adaptive metamaterials, neural-linked combat interfaces, everything was now on the table. The approaching fleet represented more than just a military challenge. They represented a test of humanity's collective spirit, its ability to unite in the face of an existential threat. "We're not just defending a planet," Admiral Chen said during a global broadcast that would be remembered for generations. "We're defending the very concept of human potential." As the alien fleet continued its approach, humanity began to transform. Not with fear, but with a determination that had defined the species since its earliest days. Every scientific breakthrough, every conflict overcome, every challenge survived had been preparation for this moment. The universe was about to learn that humanity was not a species to be underestimated. Unconventional preparation. The global response was unlike anything in human history. Traditional boundaries dissolved as nations realized that survival trumped political differences. Research facilities that had once competed now collaborated with an urgency that bordered on desperation. In the high-altitude research complex nestled in the Andes Mountains, Dr. Elena Rodriguez assembled an unconventional team. Engineers, quantum physicists, military strategists, and even experts in psychology and alien communication theory gathered around a massive holographic display tracking the incoming fleet. "We can't fight them conventionally," Elena explained, her fingers manipulating the holographic projections. "Their technological superiority is clear. We need to think differently." Dr. Michael Carter unveiled the first breakthrough, a system of adaptive metamaterials developed from research in extreme environment survival. These materials can change their molecular structure instantaneously, he demonstrated, showing a material that shifted from rigid to fluid state in milliseconds. Imagine armor that can absorb, redirect, or completely avoid incoming energy weapons. The military strategists were skeptical, but desperation breeds innovation. General Marcus Rodriguez, Elena's brother, saw potential where others saw only theoretical science. "If we can't match their technology, we'll make our technology unpredictable," he argued. Across the globe, similar scenes played out. In Tokyo, a team led by Dr. Akira Tanaka worked on quantum communication systems that could potentially disrupt alien coordination. In Cape Town, a group of neuroscientists and AI specialists developed neural-linked combat interfaces that could process information faster than any traditional command structure. The most surprising contributions came from unexpected sources. A group of video game designers created sophisticated predictive models based on alien movement patterns. Urban planners designed adaptive city infrastructures that could reconfigure themselves in seconds. Even professional chess players were consulted to understand strategic thinking beyond human conventional warfare. Elena's team focused on something more fundamental, understanding the psychological approach of the invading force. "They're treating us as a monolithic entity," she observed. "But our strength has always been our diversity, our ability to adapt, to think in ways no one expects." A breakthrough came from an unlikely source. Dr. Elena Rodriguez's teenage daughter, Maya, a prodigy in complex systems theory, suggested an approach that would become crucial to their strategy. "They're moving like a single organism," Maya explained, her holographic models dancing with complex algorithmic predictions. "But every organism has vulnerabilities. We just need to find the right point of disruption." The team worked around the clock. Sleep became a luxury, innovation a necessity. They developed systems that could change faster than the aliens could analyze them. Weapons that weren't really weapons. Defense mechanisms that were more about misdirection than direct confrontation. General Rodriguez oversaw the military preparations. Conventional weapons were being modified, but the real strategy was far more subtle. "We're not going to beat them with firepower," he told his top commanders. "We're going to beat them with something they won't understand: human unpredictability." Satellite networks were reproposed. Communication systems were redesigned to be adaptive and impossible to fully track. Every system was being prepared not to fight, but to survive, to adapt, to turn the very nature of conflict on its head. As the alien fleet drew closer, humanity transformed, not into a unified military machine, but into something far more complex, a living, breathing network of innovation and resilience. The invaders were approaching a planet, but they were about to encounter something far more dangerous than they could have imagined. A species that refused to be defined. A species that sought every challenge as an opportunity for reinvention. First contact. The sky changed first. Not with the dramatic explosion of science fiction movies, but with a subtle shift in atmospheric density. Satellites began to report anomalies, electromagnetic disturbances that danced across radio frequencies like nervous electrons. At the Andes Mountain Research Complex, Dr. Elena Rodriguez watched the holographic displays with a mixture of scientific fascination and primal fear. The alien fleet was no longer a theoretical construct. They were here. "Incoming transmission," announced Dr. Michael Carter, his voice steady despite the tension crackling through the command center. But there was no transmission, just silence. a calculated, deliberate silence that spoke volumes about the invaders' intentions. The first visual confirmation came from orbital reconnaissance drones. Massive vessels that defied conventional understanding of space engineering hung against the black backdrop of space. Their design was neither organic nor mechanical. Something in between that suggested a technology so advanced it bordered on being indistinguishable from a living organism. General Marcus Rodriguez studied the incoming data. "They're not spreading out," he observed. "They're forming a precise geometric formation, like a massive living network." Maya, Alina's daughter, was the first to notice the pattern. "It's not just a formation," she said, her fingers dancing across multiple holographic interfaces. "It's a communication network. Each ship is a node, transmitting and receiving information faster than our most advanced quantum computers." The global response was immediate but measured. Years of preparation had taught humanity that panic was the real enemy. Military installations worldwide went to high alert, but not with the chaotic scrambling of old war movies. Instead, there was a coordinated, almost mathematical precision to their movements. In orbit, the first line of human defense was unlike anything the aliens could have anticipated. Not massive weapons platforms, but a network of adaptive satellites designed to be more ghost than machine. They could shift frequencies, mimic background radiation, become virtually invisible. "First contact protocols are useless," Alina announced to her team. "They're not here to communicate. They're here to eliminate." The initial alien approach confirmed her suspicion. Energy weapons that could vaporize conventional matter began targeting strategic points on Earth. But the weapons found something unexpected. Cities that seemed vulnerable suddenly revealed layers of adaptive shielding, infrastructure that appeared static transformed, underground networks redirecting energy, surface structures fragmenting and reforming in milliseconds. General Rodriguez coordinated a response that was more psychological warfare than traditional military strategy. "We're not going to fight them," he told his commanders. "We're going to make them question everything they know about us." Quantum communication systems began broadcasting a cacophony of signals, not attempts at communication, but deliberate noise. Mathematical patterns that disrupted the aliens' precise coordination. Information streams that contained both truth and elaborate misdirection. The alien fleet hesitated. For the first time since their approach began, their perfect formation showed a microscopic crack of uncertainty. Humanity had always been most dangerous when underestimated, and these invaders were about to learn that lesson in the most profound way possible. "They want a war," Maya said, watching the holographic displays. "But we're going to give them a puzzle they can't solve." The first true battle for Earth was about to begin, not with explosions and heroic last stands, but with something far more powerful. Human creativity, human unpredictability. The ability to transform threat into opportunity. The quantum gambit. The moment of true confrontation arrived not with a thunderous clash of weapons, but with a subtle disruption that began at the quantum level. Dr. Alina Rodriguez's team had prepared for this moment. Their strategy wasn't about direct combat, but about fundamentally challenging the aliens' understanding of reality. The quantum communication systems they had developed were about to be tested in the most extreme scenario imaginable. "Activate probability cascade," Alina called out, her fingers dancing across the holographic interface. The first effect was almost imperceptible. Quantum entanglement devices scattered across Earth's orbital zone began to generate impossible scenarios. Each alien ship found itself tracking multiple versions of the same target, versions that existed simultaneously and contradictorily. General Marcus Rodriguez watched the alien fleet's response. "They're mathematically precise," he observed, "which means they're mathematically vulnerable." The adaptive satellites began their most complex performance. They weren't just blocking or redirecting signals, they were creating entire false realities. Each satellite became a node in a massive, living network of misinformation. The aliens' precise communication systems found themselves processing streams of data that defied logical interpretation. Maya, who had been instrumental in designing the quantum disruption protocols, explained the strategy to her team. "It's like playing chess, but changing the rules of physics with every move," she said. "We're not trying to defeat them. We're trying to make them defeat themselves." The alien fleet's initial energy weapon attacks found themselves targeting phantoms. Cities that seemed vulnerable would shimmer and shift, their adaptive metamaterials creating layered illusions of destruction. What appeared to be a direct hit would reveal itself as nothing more than an elaborate holographic projection. In the Andes Mountain Research Complex, the team worked with a combination of scientific precision and almost musical creativity. They weren't just defending. They were composing a complex symphony of technological manipulation. Dr. Michael Carter unveiled the next layer of their strategy. "We've developed quantum resonance disruptors," he explained. "They don't just block alien communications, they introduce calculated chaos into their command structure." The effect was immediate and profound. The alien fleet's perfect geometric formation began to show microscopic cracks. Ships that had moved with mathematical precision now found themselves slightly out of sync. Communication networks that had been instantaneous now carried subtle delays. "They understand technology," Elena observed, "but they don't understand improvisation." Humanity's response was a living, breathing organism of innovation. Military strategies mixed with scientific creativity. Each alien attack was met not with a direct counter, but with a response that fundamentally challenged their understanding of conflict. Underground communication networks began broadcasting complex mathematical sequences, not as weapons, but as puzzles. Each transmission was designed to consume processing power, to introduce doubt into the aliens' seemingly perfect computational systems. General Rodriguez coordinated a response that was more like a global performance art piece than a traditional military defense. "We're going to turn their invasion into a collective human art project," he told his commanders. The Quantum Gambit was about more than survival. It was a statement, a declaration that humanity's greatest strength wasn't in its technology, but in its ability to reimagine the very nature of conflict. As the alien fleet continued its approach, they were about to learn a fundamental truth about the species they had underestimated. Humanity didn't just fight. Humanity transformed. Aftermath and transcendence. The battle, if it could be called that, lasted less than 48 hours. But its implications would reshape humanity's understanding of itself and its place in the universe. When the alien fleet began to disintegrate, it wasn't through conventional destruction. Instead, they simply unraveled. Their perfect formations collapsed from within, victims of the quantum disruption that had systematically dismantled their communication and coordination networks. In the Andes Mountain Research Complex, an eerie silence followed the last quantum pulse. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood motionless, watching the holographic displays as the alien vessels began to drift like scattered debris. "We didn't destroy them," Maya said softly, her eyes reflecting the complex data streams. "We transformed them." The global response was unlike any previous moment in human history. There was no celebration of victory, no triumphant declarations. Instead, a profound sense of collective understanding swept across the planet. Humanity had faced an existential threat and responded not with brute force, but with creativity, adaptability, and a fundamental reimagining of conflict. Dr. Michael Carter began analyzing the remnants of the alien technology. They were a species of perfect systems, he explained to the global research team. "We introduced something they couldn't comprehend, calculated unpredictability." The quantum disruption had done more than disable the invasion force. It had fundamentally challenged the aliens' understanding of technological interaction. Their rigid hierarchical systems had been their greatest weakness, while human innovation had proven to be their ultimate vulnerability. General Marcus Rodriguez reflected on the deeper implications. "We didn't win through superior firepower," he told a hastily assembled global conference. "We won by being uniquely, beautifully human." The aftermath revealed something profound about the invasion. The alien fleet hadn't been a traditional military force, but a form of collective consciousness. Their approach to Earth was less an invasion and more an attempt to understand, or eliminate, a species that defied their computational models. Humanity had sent a message that would resonate far beyond this single encounter. Dr. Elena Rodriguez delivered a speech that would be remembered for generations. "We are not defined by our technology," she said, "but by our ability to reimagine possibility. Our strength lies not in our weapons, but in our capacity to transform challenge into opportunity." The quantum communication systems developed during the conflict began to reveal unexpected benefits. Scientists discovered new methods of information transfer, new understanding of probability and quantum mechanics. What had been created as a defensive mechanism became a gateway to unprecedented technological advancement. Maya, who had been instrumental in designing the quantum disruption protocols, saw something even deeper. "They came expecting a linear conflict," she explained. "Instead, they encountered a living, breathing network of innovation." As the debris of the alien fleet continued to drift in Earth's orbital zone, humanity found itself at a unique moment. They weren't celebrating a victory, but understanding a fundamental truth about their species: adaptability, creativity, the ability to transform threat into opportunity. These were not just survival mechanisms, they were humanity's true strength. The invasion was over, but humanity's real journey was just beginning. Would you like me to help you with the additional elements like the SEO optimized title,